Hello, storygoers, and welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Cartridge, the video game storytelling podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Eric Penrod.
And I'm your other co-host, Ryan Bauer.
Ryan, it feels like it's like 90 to me, but it's only like 79 apparently, or 80 or something like that. I don't know. It feels really hot, and I'm not know where I'm going with this. I feel like my brain's fried. But anyway, how are you? And what have you been playing?
I'm doing pretty good. I spent a day up looking at some homes to maybe buy one, so that was exciting and exhausting.
Adult,
and a lot of the houses had cats that bothered my sinuses, but that's fine.
Oh no,
that's okay. It is just the way of the world. But it was good. It's good. It's a fun thing to do, even if the world is just a big old mess. And what I've been playing is V Rising. Me and our friend Dave have been continuing to plow through V Rising. We're at like the last 4 bosses, and we spent like the last every single time we've playing now just like redecorating our entire house to make it like, immaculate, because we know once we go kill those bosses we'll just never come back to any of it again.
Never come back.
So we want to get it all really nice so that we can go murder everything and then never come back. I am finishing up the end of the season. This Destiny season ends in like 2 weeks to season 18, where they're going to introduce the new Arc subclass and some other cool stuff. And then my partner and I have been playing a little bit of Lego Star Wars. We bought it a little while ago. Just because we were looking for something to play after we finished Tiny Tina's, and there was another game we were playing that we were kind of at the end of. I don't remember which one, though. We were feeling like we wanted something to play together, so we picked up Lego Star Wars, and it's been really fun. Even at her, as somebody who's only kind of seen A New Hope, Empire, and Return, and what's it even called? The middle one. The middle of the new saga.
The new ones.
Those are the
Last
3
Jedi?
movies she's seen. Yeah, The Last Jedi.
Oh,
those are like the 3 movies she's seen.
That's rough.
It's still very fun. They're like giant games with like giant open worlds and collectibles, and they're a fun time. So yeah, that's what I've been playing mostly. Those 3 things, more or less.
I feel like I've heard so many people like in the past maybe like 2 weeks talking about playing Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Like that's been like a lot of people are playing that game, at least that I know of. So which is wild.
Yeah, it's a
like
fun time.
Every time I talk to a kid at my job, as I'm a therapist and I work with kids a lot, and I'll ask them like, oh, like what games do you play? And it's like I hear like all the time Lego Star Wars. Like, oh wow, it's like way. That and Minecraft are still very, very popular.
They're so hot. Minecraft will never die.
They just got SpongeBob on there.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is wild.
So wild, yeah.
So wild.
Eric, how are you, and what have you been playing?
I'm good. Like I said, my brain's kind of fried, but in a good way. I've had a really good day today. It's been pretty productive. I thought, so when you're a therapist, and I'm sure this is like this for other places too, every 2 years you need to accumulate enough credits, they're called CEUs, to be able to re-up your license, right? I had a panic attack last night. Not really, but almost, because I realized I had not done as many trainings as I needed to, and I thought it was due to today. So I was really panicked until I looked at my license and realized I still have like 3 more months. So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool, awesome. So I was like, phew. Yeah. Which actually is nice too, because I don't have to worry about taking my my licensure exam. Also, I thought I had to take it any time now, but I actually now have a reason to say I have like 3 more months to study, which, let's be real, it'll happen the last like 2 weeks before the exam. So right. Like it is what it is. Yeah. So anyway, besides that, it's going really well. For what I've been playing, actually, I did not tell you this, Ryan. I cannot believe I've not mentioned this. It's been like 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. I can't believe it's not even on my list here. My girlfriend and I finally beat It Takes Two. Finally.
Hey!
I'm going to say this, and she's probably going to hear this, and it's not like bad. I think she's going to agree, but she really, really did not like this game. Like, really. And I think what it was is the game is so great at bringing new things in, but was just so long with each segment. Each segment was, like, way too long. And I felt that too. Like it was like just when we thought we were done and move on, like there's another thing introduced. Like, oh my god, like that made me hate the book.
Yeah,
I didn't love the book, but every time he came out to like keep pushing you to continue this level, I was like, come on, man, like we've done this for like 2 hours. Like I just want to move on to something new. Anyway, super problematic game. I seriously cannot understand why people like this game. It blows my mind, and I really want to do an episode on it. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and I will happily do the awful British lady voice. What's the main character's name? I can't remember now. They've blocked it out of my mind so much.
Gone.
Cole. I I forget. I was on to make fun of it, and I can't even think of the name as I blocked it in my head so much. Great gameplay, just way too long, and the story was just trash. So, but the book was okay, I guess. I don't know. So, I've also been playing, unfortunately, Fire Emblem Heroes, which is a mobile game.
Yeah. Okay.
I was stuck on it for so long in the past, and I was kind of sitting around the other day. I was like, it'd be kind of fun to go back, and I realized I changed my phone, which means I lost my Google Authenticator. So I've been trying to get back into my old account, and long story short, it's just no way. Because I deleted my old email, and without that, I can't prove it. So I was like, well, I'll just jump on and see what it's like. I'm head over heels back into it again. I'm never going to pay money for it, ever. Yeah. I have no desire to do that. But there's something about it. And it really isn't the best gameplay either. But I think it's just I love the artwork of the games, like of the game itself, with the different characters. It's so well done. But I'm gonna try to get off that pretty soon. It's like a bad drug. You know, you don't want to play, but you kind of do at the same time. It's like, why am I doing this? I can do so many other things with my time. And then you're just playing it for 2 hours, like, what's happened?
Right.
I've been super back into Final Fantasy VII Remake. I fell off it hard. Yeah, I'm almost done with it. I can actually probably beat today with enough luck. It's really good, and it's very interesting. I think they're doing something different with it that I wasn't anticipating. I haven't finished it yet. Something just happened. And I was like, that didn't happen in the original game. That's weird. They're introduced a lot of cool things. It definitely is weird with the dialogue because it's Japanese and they translate it to English, and I just don't understand. Like, I also enjoy anime. I'm not the biggest person in it, but I do enjoy some shows still. Like, why do they make people still go you know, like, why? No one does that. No one's gasping like that. Like, why? Like, you can just be quiet and show horror. Like, you don't have to gasp at everything. Final Fantasy does, man. Like, you fall into you're like, a cat jumps up. Like, it's just, I don't get it. I just don't understand it. It's the one thing that really irks me to my core. But it's visually, I have it on the PS5 now, or before I played it on the PS4, just visually stunning. It is a beautiful game. It is so, like, it literally, as someone who played the original game, playing Remake is just like, wow. It just is amazing how this is what I pictured the game to be in my mind. Like, it's so, and that's what I think the biggest aspect of it. And the combat is fantastic. I really enjoy the combat a lot. But when there's lulls, there is lulls, and they really smack you around hard. It's a lot of downtime, like too much downtime. I'm in this part right now where I just want to fight. I just want to fight things, and I'm continuing to not fight things, and it's just like, I'm just glad I'm to this point where I'm almost done with the game because I just want to push through it. So, great game. Raving review, right? Yeah. I'm on a roll. And the last one is, of course, Mario Kart. My girlfriend, I love Mario Kart. And the new wave comes out this week. Yes, it's Sunday. So, yeah, this week, which I'm so excited because Calamari Desert is coming back. And the N64 is just... Mario Kart N64 is so good. It's like one of the most perfect games ever created. Except that's not true, because when you use mushrooms in that game, the NPCs still catch up to you, and it makes no freaking sense. 7-year-old Eric didn't realize at the time that it made no sense, but 31-year-old Eric does. I see through Nintendo's tricks. It's messed up. Like, I'll hit someone with a red shell, fly past them, and somehow they catch up to me probably like 5 seconds later. I'm like, there's no... Wario, there's no physical way. But yes, so that's what I've been playing. Just for clarification, like, I know it's been a little rough, I think, for us lately. The summer's been wild. I've had a lot of visitors coming up, and I continue to, and I will continue to, and you're looking for houses. It's been a little, like, crazy for us, so we haven't been able to get our traditional story out in a while, but we are working on that. We're getting back to it. Like, it's just been really difficult, so we want to say, like, during this kind of weird lull that we've had, we continue to do DLCs and bedtime stories, which is great. But, you know, during this regular story lull that we have, we continue to see people subscribing to us on different platforms like Spotify and Apple. So even though we hit this lull, like, we continue to see people investing their time with us, and we really appreciate that. So we just want to say, stick with us. I think things will slow down again. You know, like, my parents came, my girlfriend's parents are coming, her friends have come up. You know, it's just been crazy, you know, and then with work and everything. So... And you're buying a house, which literally horrifies me. And just like, when you talk about it, like, holy crap, that's so much work. Like, adulting is hard, but...
Yeah, I mean, certainly thanks for sticking through. I mean, we're approaching 100 episodes. We're approaching our 3rd year next month. So if you've been here for that whole time, or if you just joined us, we really appreciate it. No, it oftentimes will ebb and flow. This is not our full-time job. This is something we do because we love, and we're still able to, we do our best to get at least 2 episodes out a month, ideally 3. So just thanks for sticking with us, and we'll keep trying to get those big, beautiful scripts out there that are kind of the core to what we do, but they take the most work and they take the most time. They take a big investment. So thanks for being patient. We appreciate your patience. Yeah.
We appreciate your patience. We hope you enjoy what we're making. We really are still trying our best. And you never know. One day, if this did become a full-time job, we'd have a lot more time to dedicate to it, and that'd be great. But in the meantime, this is how it is. And so hopefully you understand. We have a lot of stuff out there, though. So hopefully that helps in the meantime. But we hope that you enjoyed our latest episode, which is our bedtime story of Abzu. It was our first time doing first-person perspective, and I was really happy with how it came out. And I think I might continue the story as well. But we hope that you're doing well. Send us your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives to talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All of the E's are 3s. You can also find us on social media, basically Instagram, because Twitter, I just can't with Twitter. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think anyone really finds us on Twitter. Instagram is much more of a platform where we reach out to people, I think. So find us on Instagram. We do fun little pictures of ourselves with the app. Did you see our Abzu one, Ryan?
With the
little snorkels. I did that.
That's very good.
I did that at work in a meeting. I probably shouldn't have done that, but like I was paying attention. But yeah, I was just drawing our faces with little snorkels, which I thought was really funny.
It's very good.
But today is a fun episode. It's our DLC. I forget what number it is. We've done so many in a great way. Ryan, would you like to take the baton and explain what today's episode is? Is that what it is? Take a baton? Is that the
yeah?
right thing?
You hand off the baton, and then it's your turn to yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong here, Eric. This episode is about the journey, game stories where we love being in the experience. We love everything. Sometimes we don't always love how it finishes or how the plot ends or where their narrative goes, but that we still are able to appreciate and enjoy the minutes that got us there. And be satisfied with that journey, even if the end isn't kind of what we wanted or what feels satisfying.
Yeah, the journey, it's all about beautiful journeys and pretty rough endings, which is interesting, right? Because I almost feel like it's hard. It's easy to say like, oh, the journey should never, the journey should always be what's, you cherish most about a story, right? It's not about the ending. But I don't know. I feel like the ending is also very important, right? Obviously, like it leaves you with something. So, I don't know. It always feels a little disjointed when you enjoy the journey of something and then it ends pretty abruptly and awful and yeah, it leaves that sour taste in your mouth. You have to like kind of focus more on the journey part of it, which is weird. But yes, we have compiled 6 games, 3 each, of games that we feel had great journeys and rough endings. So, Ryan, can I pass the baton?
I haven't given it back to you, but I'll take it again. Oh, okay. I'll take the second baton.
Here's the second one. I don't know where I found it. I gotta stop this baton, Jim. Would you like to start us off with the first game that you picked?
Yeah, I would love to. This is one that is kind of continues to be a journey that they have continued to miss the landing. So instead of picking like one specific experience, I think for me at least personally, Destiny is a game that I love. I play it a lot. The moment-to-moment stories are really good. You meet some cool characters. You go to these really cool places. And there's some really cool narrative beats, but I don't think I have ever had a Destiny experience where the ending felt like satisfying and in a conclusion. Part of that, I think, is because, obviously, it can't end because there has to be more content coming out. Part of it is because now that they're at the seasonal model, they're working on 2 seasons at the same time, so they can't really be in conversation in the same way. Part of it is I just don't know if they, you know what I mean? I don't know where they're... It's gotten better, but they still really struggle to make the narrative be satisfying and interesting, even if you're, meeting new characters and going to these new places and having these really interesting ideas. Like, for example, this most recent season was all about like overcoming your fears and facing the demons that are inside of you and like working through that. So there's these 3 characters. One of the characters work through, he was a guardian, which is like a super soldier, and he was fighting for the city to keep people safe, and he was training his son how to fight. And when he was off and away, bad guys effectively attacked his home, and his son went out to defend the home and died. And so then he has blamed himself forever because this person has lived thousands of years and he has never gotten over that remorse. And it was such an incredible experience to have that character kind of get through that. And the experience was the nightmare that haunted you, the visage of your wife, like telling you, you abandoned us, how could you do this to us? And then by the end, like hey, you don't be so hard on yourself. You did the best you could. It was so cathartic and satisfying. But then, like, the end to this overall narrative was, like, you're fighting a big, giant floating head while it shoots, like, other heads out at you, and then you kill it, and it's like, oh no, we were too late. Try next time, right? And that was the narrative, right? There is some connective tissue there, but it wasn't satisfying. The moment to moment was satisfying. Those little stories were satisfying, but it didn't pay off over the larger arc in a way that was satisfying, I think, as a player and as somebody who is, engaging with that story. And that feels pretty, that's one example, but that feels like, from my experience with Destiny, how kind of it always goes. The moment to moment is interesting. There's really cool, interesting stories in there, but they're never able to kind of make a full, satisfying ending because either they're tied to that they can never stop. There's never a final, at least not on the horizon. And I think it's just, I don't know how you balance the time, right? But that's one that comes to mind with all Destiny 1, Destiny 2, all the seasons, all the expansions. I personally enjoy them as experiences, but have never found the endings to be particularly satisfying. And again, maybe it's for a whole host of reasons. It could even be because, like, you have to fight a big boss at the end because that's what kind of game it is, and that doesn't always fit with the narrative they're trying to tell. Or you have to fight the big boss, but this isn't the real big boss. You have to fight that big boss in the raid, right? Like there's all these weird things that take away that satisfaction. Like one of my favorite Destiny experiences, the Taken King, which is when we were all playing together. At the end of that, you kill the big boss, but then, like, we did it, but now we have to go to his throne world and really kill him, right? It takes the rug right out from under the experience that you've been working towards and leaves it kind of unsatisfying in a way that just never feels great. And I have played Destiny for probably a decade now, and I still really love it, but that came to mind right away, where I love every moment I'm in it, but if I think about the narrative, it never really feels very satisfying.
You can probably make so many good things off of that. I just picture like a cartoon, like the main character's like, "Yes, we did it," and the other, like the supporting character's like, "Yes, we did do it. Now we go to the throne room and really kill him." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
wait, what do you mean? I thought we killed it.
That was the hardest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy's just wait. It's even harder next time. We're going to his throne room this time.
Yeah,
like, I
exactly.
don't really want to do that.
And you have to hold the orb and jump through that circle, and you have to stand in this circle over here. Yeah, exactly.
And Brady here, who's a real jerk, is going to coordinate us, and he has a lot of anger issues, so get ready.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry to any Brady's listening to this. We're not targeting you, I promise.
No.
Oh, we should say also, I meant to say this earlier, big spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoilers. You're going to spoil all the games we talk about, we're going to spoil. So just, if we say the game, you're not jiving with hearing that being spoiled. Granted, a lot of them, the majority of them are pretty, not old, but they're a little older. They've been out for a while.
I mean,
so if you haven't played them,
mine are not the oldest, but it's fine.
Mine are. Mine are pretty old. Not old, but they've been out for quite a while. So, well, then I'm going to batarang around to mine. Okay, whatever. I couldn't think of anything. I was trying to think of a good joke that didn't work out very well. But my first choice is Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Asylum is such a great game. It is so good. It does something with Batman that's never been done before. That opening sequence, you go to Arkham Asylum and you're driving the Joker in and you're walking through, like, it just brings the comics to life, and it's just so like the setting itself is such a character, which is amazing. And when Joker escapes and you're going through and you're fighting these inmates, and you see these characters that you've grown up with in the comics, like Poison Ivy and Killer Croc and was Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze in it? I can't remember. Anyway, all these Bane, like all these characters that you like just really like grew up with, like especially the cartoon, the 90s cartoon, like such a good cartoon, right? Like it did such a good job, and the thing that I think really hurt the game was the ending, because Joker is someone who, he's the final boss, right? And he's always a villain that uses his wits and his brains to try to outsmart Batman. He's not trying to fight him because he knows that he can't beat Batman, right? But what's weird about this game is the end, he takes this thing called the Titan formula, which makes him gigantic. Like it just bulks his body up to be like almost like Bane's. Like his skin is ripped, you can see the muscle underneath, and he fights Batman that way. But like it was just like, why are we making Joker do something that he never wanted to do? Or like, why would he think that beefing himself up and fighting Batman when he knows that Bane and Killer Croc and all these other like very muscular, strong villains do try to do the same thing, and Batman beats them regardless. So like, it just made no sense. And I'm all for different, doing different things with different characters. I'm not saying the Joker shouldn't beef himself up and try to fight Batman, but at the same time, it just made literally no sense. Like, I don't understand why he felt like that was the answer when he had literally like so many options with him in Arkham Asylum to use to try to kill Batman. And granted, there's an argument to say he probably never wants to kill Batman. He just wants to, play with him, really, honestly. So, yeah, and it just, which leads to ramifications to Arkham City, which are really like, very permanent. Which it just feels weird that that's the thing that Joker. Basically, again, huge spoiler alert. Basically, because of this choice, Joker basically dies on the sword in the next game in Arkham City, where he does actually die. Right? This decision, this really stupid decision, leads him to cause this, cause a disease within himself that ends up killing him. Which I think is fine. I think Joker dying is totally okay. But like, it just feels weird that this is the cause. Like, why did we think getting gigantic to fight Batman was the right decision? It just makes no sense to me. And for such a smart character as the Joker, it's just kind of stupid. So, at least in my opinion. If someone else likes it, cool. But I just thought it was kind of silly. So, yeah. But Ryan, did you play Arkham Asylum?
I did. Yeah, I think it might have been. I don't know if you let me borrow it or if I just rented it or something. Yeah, the Arkham games are very fun.
Good.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, I just the way that the characters interact with one another and just how immersive that world is just so good. Like, in how you fight and how you do the stealth thing. Like, but yeah, you get to that ending, it's just like, this feels so out of place. This does not feel right, and it's just a little disappointing. So, but Ryan,
yes,
man, I'm just not sticking these jokes today. This is awful. I'm gonna leave it in. This pain will haunt me, and it'll make me stronger. I almost feel stuck in a loop.
Oh.
So would you like to start your next game?
I would love to. So my next game is Deathloop, which is still one of my favorite game experiences I've ever had in playing that game. It is incredible. I there's part of me that wants to go back and just replay that game because the moment-to-moment experience of the gameplay is incredibly fun. The characters are so cool and interesting, all of the different targets. Plus your conversations and your relationship with Juliana is amazing. The voice acting is incredible. The setting is so immersive and interesting, and you get to experience it at different times and have all of these systems interact in this incredible way that it is just an incredible game. I personally felt, though, the ending was a little bit unsatisfying, and I don't know if it was because they were trying to set up something that was next, because they felt this is kind of what had to happen, or not. And spoilers for Deathloop, how it ends is ultimately you kill all the Visionaries, you go and you find Juliana, and then you have an option of either killing her, joining her, or killing yourself are the options. Those are your kind of three choices. And like, you can either, join her and continue to fight in Deathloop forever or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, basically, yeah. When I understand, they're continuing to do this, but just more as a fun thing.
Right.
Because you find, again, huge spoiler alert, please don't listen to this anymore if you want to play Deathloop. We find out that Cole is actually Juliana's father.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
and she's a
exactly.
huge grudge against him, which is the cause there to really want to kill him because she's so mad at him. So, but there's one I think that they agree to
keep going at it.
And they kind of have fun doing it. They get almost like a father-daughter role, but it's very messed up. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I think one where... I can't remember
I think you kill her and then you become... you can kill her and then sit down and like take over or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's you kill her and then kill yourself. And that breaks the loop.
Yeah. Well, there's one where like you break the loop, but she comes out. She goes, "You like really messed this whole thing up. Good job," and then leaves. And then
the fact that we're like, this is one of both of our favorite games we've played, and we cannot remember what the heck each meaning means is in itself, I think, is demonstrating that how kind of messy and weird this ending was. And you kind of knew into it going into it, knew it was going to be kind of messy and weird because of this whole experience, but it wasn't satisfying in a way that like everything that came before and then what happened now made sense and is interesting. And again, maybe they'll come out with a DLC that will further explain that. But you would hope in one sit-down experience it would be narratively satisfying. And I think there was endings that felt in some ways satisfying, but I don't think any of them felt as good as the rest of the game as I was playing it.
Yeah. I literally, every time I think of Deathloop, I just think of the moment sitting on my couch where Juliana came over my PlayStation 5 controller just talking to Cole, and it sounded like a walkie-talkie, and it just was so immersive in the best way. It just made me so happy that the moment that it stops, and she's like, well, I don't really have anything to talk to you about anymore. And he's like, well, me neither. And then they're done. It kind of broke my heart, because I miss those conversations. They made me want to restart again just to listen to them again. But yeah, I almost feel like the anticipation again of going in the rocket to fly to her to end it all was so awesome. But again, the endings were so anticlimactic and so forgettable. It was so fast. It really was so quick. And I almost wish there wasn't multiple endings. I wish there was a definitive ending so that they want to continue the story they can. And unfortunately, Deathloop didn't sell as well as they should have. It really should have. And I'm not sure why it didn't sell well, because it got fantastic reviews, and it was overplayed a lot at award ceremonies and stuff for sure. Which didn't help it, I'm sure. But I don't know. I would love it if they got a DLC, but I don't feel good that they will, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Great game. Was it Arcane Studios just can do
all
no
of their
wrong.
Games are phenomenal. Yeah, I'm very excited for the next one.
I'm hopeful for it. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm pretty hopeful though. They always seem to stick the landing.
Yeah.
For me at least. Well, overall. Maybe not for every ending. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my next one. Eric, tell me about this. I don't know if I think I've heard of this game, but I don't know if I've ever played it.
Oh, it's such a good game, but the ending... You already know. So yeah, Enslaved Odyssey of the West is actually Andy Serkis, actor from Lord of the Rings who played Smeagol and Gollum, right? As well as, I forget her name, but she was the female lead in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Anyway, they're the leads. They play Monkey and Trip. And Trip is this girl. She, it's in a world where it's post-apocalyptic and nature has kind of reclaimed everything, but these robots are collecting people for unknown reasons, and Trip is trying to find out, and she enlists the help of Monkey, who's another human, who's very just very kind of wild and monkey-ish, but he's not, not physically, but just kind of everywhere. He's kind of like a wild animal, and they really don't get along, but as you go through this journey, they really become close, and everything about it was just so much fun. The combat was really fun. The world was fantastic. The other characters were really cool. Even the customization, the costumes they have are so awesome. It's really just gripped me and just took me in. But what was wrong with the ending is that you eventually get to where you need to go. One of the characters in the story sacrifices himself, if I remember correctly, which was kind of sad. It actually really led up to oh wow, what's going to happen? We really feel this feels like an end game. This feels like this is going to be it. And they find themselves walking into this pyramid, which is their final destination, to find that all the humans that supposedly had been killed in this post-apocalyptic world have been collected and kind of given this opportunity to be hooked up to this virtual reality system where they share consciousness with this... Oh, I don't know if they share a consciousness, but they use this singular person named the Pyramid. They use his memories of before the world had gone to crap to live this happy life. So they base this virtual world on his memories, so everyone's living this virtual reality, very Matrix-like. And he begs Monkey and Trip to not ruin this for everybody. This is, he's offering them a safe haven, a paradise, so they don't have to live in this world anymore. And I thought I was actually going to just kind of leave it there. I thought they were going to kind of leave it there and you decide what they would do. But what you actually see is that Trip walks over and kills Pyramid and essentially shuts the whole thing down, which essentially would lead to everybody coming out of that world and back into the apocalypse. And she looks at Monkey and she goes, did I do the right thing? And the game's over. And so you're really left with this, what the heck just happened? You don't see the ramifications, and why that's such a negative is that there's no sequel to this game. It came out a long time, not a long time, but it came out quite a while ago, back in the 2000s. So it really, I think the 2000s. If there was a sequel, maybe that'd be redeemable, but they really just end it there with well, we made this decision, right? And you'll never see the ramifications of it. You got to this place, the decision was made for you, and you'll never see what happens with it, right? And it's just kind of like there's so much sacrifice and so much kind of like stakes that felt, which just kept going up and up as you get closer to your destination, that for that to happen and for the character to look back and say, did I make the right decision? It feels like, well, you made the decision, so it doesn't really matter if it's right or wrong now. You made it, right? So it was just unfortunate. And it was, I think this was by Ninja Theory, who, again, I love Ninja Theory a lot. They're unfortunately, the games don't hit as much as maybe Arcane's it does. Of course, I say that I love DMC, which is the Devil May Cry game that they made. A lot of people didn't like it. I think it was fantastic or whatever. But anyway, it just left a really sour taste in my mouth, and it really left you in this place of like, I was really hoping for a hopeful ending. That's what, it was really just so much despair in a beautiful world, beautiful post-apocalyptic world, that it ends in even like more significant despair. And I just didn't feel like these characters who I fell in love with are now like just kind of continuing to be stuck, and I just didn't like it. So, yeah, I don't know. It felt kind of gross.
It sounds like it and correct me if I'm wrong. Did it like took the agency away from the player to make the decision and just did the thing, right? Yeah. That's also not
it just
super
does
satisfying.
Yeah. It was just very, very strange, and the story is based on the classic tale. I think it's the classic Chinese tale of an Odyssey to the West, which is like a story of like enlightenment and like finding one's purpose. I think if I know correctly, I could totally be just saying that, but that's not what I got from this. This didn't feel enlightening. This felt very despair filled. So I don't know. If they had made a sequel, I would hope that it would be addressed and more would be talked about. But at that point, basically the bad guy had died. There's nothing else anyone can do. So I don't know. It's just disappointing. So and it's sad because I have my copy right here next to me. I don't have a PS3 anymore. I would love to play it again, but I just can't. And I don't know. Now I'm talking about it. I don't know if I want to play it again. I kind of like the memories I have, and maybe I don't want to experience that ending again. So I don't know. Feels weird, man. So anyway, Ryan, we are on the last of your games of your
we
three.
are.
And this is a doozy. I wonder if
this
people
is a
will
big
agree
one.
with you on this
So
one.
yeah, I don't want to. Eric, you haven't played this, right? You haven't played this.
If you spoil it, I will eventually play it. I'm not one of those people that if something gets spoiled for me, I'll still go back and play it. So I'm not.
Okay, I can also be more vague about it if that's helpful, if you'd like.
Nah, just go for it.
Okay,
just go for
so
it. Just I want you to be
sure.
honest.
Horizon Forbidden West is the newest in the Horizon games. It came out in February, like within 2 days of Elden Ring, which is a whole other thing. And the first one came out like within the same week of Breath of the Wild. So they have bad release time.
Really?
Bad release times on them.
Who's deciding this?
I don't. Hopefully not Guerrilla, because it's a bad gig. But anyway.
Jeez.
It is the sequel to the very popular Horizon Zero Dawn game with Ashley Burch as Aloy, and it is a complete continuation of the first game. It catches you up if you don't know what's going on, but it is a continuation. You've stabilized this part of the world, but more things are going wrong, and you have to go out and essentially collect a bunch of AIs to rebuild the super AI that regulates the world. So essentially. Because the narrative of the game is this is after the world has ended. There was a AI that was created, a group of super robots that are wage war. But how they're powered is by sucking the life from things around them, and eventually they got out of control and they were going to destroy all life on Earth. So the humans decided, okay, we can't save ourselves. We can save people of the future. So they locked everyone in a vault. And they programmed this AI called Gaia, and she would, in hundreds, thousands of years when the Earth was safe again, wake everyone back up. And in order to restabilize the Earth, there's these robotic creatures that would till the ground and spread seeds and stuff like that. And in the first game, the robots have gone crazy, and you have to figure out why. Essentially, one of the AIs is kind of doing their own thing. This game is a continuation. You're going off into the West to this whole new group of cultures. It is this beautiful world with a lot of really cool and interesting characters. The gameplay is really fun moment to moment. You have these really intricate and interesting cultures who feel fully formed in some ways and really interesting in some ways. You have some really good character arcs where like really important characters die, and like the characters like spend time grieving and talking about that grief, and it feels really impactful and interesting. And then at some point in the narrative, you find out that, because as far as you've known, you're the only humans left, all the ones who died. You eventually find out a bunch of rich people shot themselves into space. And they have now come back because they messed up their planet, and they've come back to Earth to reclaim this AI so they can build their own AI and then wipe Earth clean and make it a new one. And they are essentially can live forever and have this like super technology, so like no one can hurt them. It's actually a really cool narrative beat that's like, what is going on? This is so cool, and it's really fun and interesting, and it really makes this really intense narrative where you're like chasing down these AIs, hoping to get them before these future people get there. And the future people have like much better technology than you. They have these incredible robots that can just destroy you. It's really cool. You like this chase to go get these things. But in the end, in the end, one of these super rich folks who kind of was in love with who you were cloned of. Spoilers for Horizon Dawn. You are a clone of the person who created this whole program. It gets very convoluted.
Okay. Is that why?
That's why she
talks like that.
Because she's a clone, yeah, and she wasn't raised. So everybody out in the world was raised by these AI, and Aloy was like, "Oh no, things are going bad. Let's make a clone of Elizabeth Sobek, the person who built this world. Spit her out." And she was raised by one dude in the wilderness. And she came out as and she was shunned from her culture because the culture she was born in is matriarchal, and because she didn't have a mother, she couldn't be a part of that culture, so she was shunned by it. And eventually, this future person, was one of Elizabeth Sobek's like possibly lovers, or they had a romantic relationship in some way, but she decided to leave and go off with these rich folks. And she comes on your side, and it's a whole thing. And in the end, you fight the big rich people together, you take them down. We did it. We've got all the parts of Gaia. We're saving the world. And then in the very end, you find out that, oh no, this rogue AI that was sent with the rich people that messed them up is now coming back to Earth to destroy the Earth, and now it's even more dangerous than the last dangerous thing. So it does this thing where it makes the ending unsatisfying because, but wait, there's an even worse thing coming, everybody, right? Like, it doesn't give you any time to be like, we did it, this was hard, we beat these, like, rich jerks that think they were better than everyone else, and we defeated them. And
so relatable.
Yeah, exactly. These people who essentially thought like, we are so rich and we are so much better than everyone else that we're going to remove ourselves from this hellhole and just create a utopia. They end up messing it up, and then they come back, which again is like a really interesting narrative, and I dug it for a lot of the parts of it. And eventually, like, you find out that this rogue AI is the villain the whole time, and now it's coming back to Earth to get us again. And so now we have to go get the other AI parts we didn't get yet. It's the only way. So they're doing it to set up the next game, which fine, but don't do that like in the immediate scene where we just resolved what just happened. Like in the same moment where everyone's like, oh, we did it. That was hard. We lost people we cared about. We went on this journey. Aloy as a character changed from like, only I can do this, only I can save the world, to, I have to have people to help me or else I can't get things done, to now, the big bad guy's coming, and then you like team up with a bad guy from the first game. It gets like super convoluted and weird in a way that parts of it I liked, but it felt so unsatisfying. And so like, and I think Marvel movies do this quite a bit in a way that I don't enjoy, where they like sacrifice a narrative to set up something else, when I think it's better to just let that story be, and then we can revisit it. Certainly if you want to do a cliffhanger, fine, let's do a cliffhanger after the fact, but not in the same breath as we're, saying that everything's going to be okay. It just makes it less satisfying. And again, the whole rest of the game I really enjoyed for the most part. The narrative was great. There's like some really incredible stuff, especially in like, you go to Las Vegas, and there's some really cool stuff in there, and overall the narrative is very good, but this ending kind of undercuts in some way where it's like, yeah, it just feels really unsatisfying when you're immediately told everything you did was we did it, but even worse is coming, so get ready. You're right, that just doesn't feel satisfying. And And also, like, they did this exact same thing in the first one, but it was like credits roll. Now here's this thing. Oh no, what's this? Right? You weren't sure, but in this, it's like in the last scene, we're telling you what's happening, and it was just
Yeah, they shove it down your throat rather than like just waiting.
Yeah. Show don't tell. Show don't tell.
Yeah.
Every single time, show don't tell.
Yeah. Do you think so? When Ayla went to Las Vegas, did she like have a moment where she like had to pawn her bow and got addicted to like gambling or something? And then...
No, that would have been really interesting. That would have been interesting. The Las Vegas stuff is some of like the best storytelling in any game I've ever played. It's so beautiful.
Wow.
It's really cool.
I don't like Las Vegas either, so that's mind-blowing.
Exactly. Yeah. No. I mean, it's the apocalypse. Like Las Vegas is gone. It's been wiped out. But you like do some really cool stuff there. That is like very memorable and very beautiful. So yeah.
I'm gonna backpedal just a second ago. To anyone who's living in Las Vegas, it's not that it's not for me. It's not for me. I visited one time. It's just not my thing. I'm not into cities, so it just was not going to be for me.
Yeah.
More power to you if you like it, though.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun when I got into the casino, but walking around really sketched me out, and it was very stressful. So I just can't do it. So more power to you. But yeah, I need to play those games so bad. But I agree, though. It's one of those things where it's like... And I think that's why, for example, again, more spoilers coming that we probably weren't intending to, but like, that's why I love God of War, the new one, so much, is that like when the ending happens, it happens, and you kind of just like kind of just go with it. And then if you choose to seek the additional ending, where Thor comes, like you sit down to dream, and Thor comes, and kind of like shows you what is to come. That is your choice, right? Like, but it doesn't shove it down your throat. Like, you choose to do that, or you run into it. But it's like it's much more conducive of like, wow, okay, I had time to really marinate on this ending. I love this ending. Oh, cool. Here's what's to come. But I don't really know what's happening. It's just like it's like a vision, right? So it's like still a mystery, not like, oh no, more robots. Like you're like, like the rich people, no. Like it's like you just don't know. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. So maybe they'll listen to this podcast and
I'm sure they will.
Better for the third one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gabe, we know you're listening also. Portal 3 on the table. Will be the Portal Gun voices. I think that has to be our DLC for maybe next time. Is our when we finish Portal 2, because we have to do the second half. When we finish that, let's really narrow down why Portal 3, with you and me involved, will be the best Portal ever.
Best game ever. Yeah.
The best one ever. I feel very confident with that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump into my next one. You probably thought I was going to disappear, but too bad, because I'm going to talk about... Oh no, I was just thinking... I'm dumb. I'm so dumb. I was thinking it was Banish. I'm talking about Vanquish, not Banish. I was stupid. Yeah, alright, so these jokes are just falling hard, real hard. That was so bad. Right, did you see what I was going with?
I did.
Just did not work,
saw.
Obviously. That was really stupid. That was so stupid. I'm going with Vanquish. Vanquish is a game from... feels like forever ago, probably 20 years at this point. It had to be. Platinum Games game, which typically I'm not super into Platinum Games, but Vanquish is such a cool concept where it is a shooter game in third person that you jet on your knees. You get on your knees and you're just jetting across the battlefield. So it's a very like fast action. You're flipping, zipping. You can slow-mo shoot things, and like it's so wild and zany and crazy and so much fun. Like the gameplay, I know we're like a story-based podcast of video games, which is great, but the gameplay, man, is just so good, and it's just so much fun. The story's bonkers. It's always going to be bonkers. It's very much of a what would happen if the US and Russia were fighting from a Japanese perspective, and let's translate it kind of thing, which again, more power to them. This was never about the story, right? It was all about the gameplay, which is fine. But like what sucks about the game, as fun as it was, and honestly, again, you're not paying attention for the story, right? But like the bad guy is annoying, and long story short, the main character Sam realizes that basically the people who are like above him that he's working for are working with the Russians for whatever reason, right? So he is on... I'm probably butchering this and messing this all up, but wherever he is in that moment, it's been so long. It's gonna blow up from a nuclear device, I believe, from the bad guy, right? And so Sam is able to jump out of this space station thing into space, but he's caught by his comrade and he's saved and he's kind of just there. But the bad guy just leaves. The bad guy gets away. And then also in that same ending, the bad guy, I forget, is like a Russian name. I'm not gonna try to even say it. He is talking to whom he probably works for, and they're like, "Good job. First part of the mission is a success. and then now go to stage 2, and he's like, all right, no worries, right? So basically the good guys are found out, right? Warning, because I'm about to talk about suicide, right? But another character commits suicide because they are found out, which is really, it was wild. Because they found out for treason, they know they're gonna go away forever, so they just unfortunately did do that, right? And then the bad guy gets away, and so then Sam just kind of just is in space, you know. And then they're like setting up for a sequel, but here's the thing: there is no sequel. There is no sequel. Like there is no sequel. So like it just doesn't. And not to say that it needs a sequel, right? Like, a story doesn't have to be good or ending doesn't be bad because there's no sequel for it. But at the same time, like they were setting up for something and it just did not land, and now there's nothing to even go off of it, right? Like it doesn't work. So like it was just really upsetting because the game was so much fun and so zany and so wild and so over the top. Like again, it was like Japanese writers looking at American action movies and was like, all right, let's tell our story with this kind of focal point, which was fun, right? And zany. Like it would never happen in real life. No one ever talked like that in real life. It was just kind of fun. And it ends in just such a dissatisfying way that I don't know. I'm sad that there's no sequel, but not because of the story. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So, and the ending did not help with that. So I don't know. I miss Vanquish. That's a great game. The ending's bad, but the game is great. Did you ever play Vanquish? I don't think I
I
ever
didn't.
asked you.
No, I actually was just Googling while you were
Oh.
talking. I think I remember seeing bits of it, especially like the sliding stuff. Because can you like slide
so
and shoot
cool.
at the same time?
He's on his knees. He's just like sliding
Yeah.
and shooting, and then
Yeah.
you can slow motion because your suit, and the suit is so cool and so coolly designed, and like
Yeah.
the guns are really cool. I think the bad guys are basically robots, if I remember correctly. But like, it was just so zany and fun, and it was always like you don't have this much time. You have to stop this before the timer's up, and you're on your knees, just slide into where you have to go like a crazy person. And it's just like so much fun.
Yeah.
But then like the ending, and that's what I think that's the hardest part though, is that for a game that's basically an action game, the story didn't take itself too seriously until the end, where it took itself way too seriously, and then it was just like totally disjointed and
Fell apart,
like
yeah.
what is even happening. So. Yeah, I'm very curious. Well, actually, for all these games, I'm very curious if people have different perspectives from us. I would love to know what people
Yeah.
think of these games. So if you are out there and you're thinking these guys are absolutely bonkers because the rich people ending of Horizon and AI stuff is the best, then send us an email. Shoot us an email. Send us your thoughts, feelings, and perspectives to talesfromthecartridge@gmail.com. All of the E's in this email are 3s. Reach out to us. Let us know what you agree with or don't agree with. We'd love to read those perspectives on the show, as well as, if you're interested, sending you a free Tales from the Cartridge sticker as a thank you. Again, like these are the episodes I love the most because I want to hear people's perspectives. I want to see what people think, if they agree, if they disagree. Because a lot of these games are really beloved games, right? So like, I'm very curious what people think. And please let us know, for Ryan and I, why It Takes Two is probably the worst game story ever.
Yeah.
That's one also. That one just is not good at all. That's one I didn't
Also
enjoy the journey of the story.
unsatisfying. That's fair.
Let's have a problematic relationship and try to solve it in weird ways. But yeah, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, storygoers, again, thank you for your patience with everything. We hope that you're enjoying it, and we will do our best to get back on track. But again, we're only human, and we're just trying to live our best lives, so it is what it is. If we ever took this off one day to do a paid thing, we would obviously make it better. But in the meantime, this is what it is. So thank you again for your patience. Ryan, as always, you're fantastic. Thank you for being
Thank
co-host
you.
to this. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off?
Again, thanks for everybody's patience. It is always so fun to just be able to talk to my very good friend about the games that we love and the things we get to experience. So thanks for giving us a reason to do that, because it's always very fun.
Is it really, side note, is it really going to be 3 years? Did we start?
Oh no, maybe it'll be 2 years.
Is it 2? I might
Maybe
think
it's 2.
Does it start in 2020?
Yeah, we
That's
started in
hard, so I'm not
2020. We
judging
started in
you.
2020. Yeah, I think I was thinking
Yeah.
this will be our third.
Our third.
Yeah, exactly.
DLC,
Our
yeah.
third August episode or whatever, our third September episode. But yeah,
You're right.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that
yeah.
Okay, that makes so much
Yeah.
sense. That makes so much sense to me.
Yeah,
Yes, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
we
we've
really
been-
should do Bioshock 2 soon.
Yeah, we should. BioShock 2 is a very good game. It's a very good game.
I never actually finished
It's
it.
very good.
I'll be honest. I know it's
Yeah.
sacrilegious. I
Yeah,
know.
well, that's okay. It's a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to play it though. But no, I think, 2 years. That's wild.
Yeah.
That is so,
Yeah.
it's so wild.
We're approaching
Like,
100 episodes too, right? Where this is like going to be like 84
Yeah.
or 85 or something. Yeah.
Something like that. It was just crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, Storygoers, let us know if you have any thoughts, feelings, or perspectives. Let us know what games you want us to cover, bedtime stories, or regular episodes. And hopefully you're enjoying everything and you're happy and safe and doing well. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.